everyone, it is Shinny again, and update to the update. I kind of lied. I kind of lied on my hiatus. um, so bear in mind, I've been under a lot of stress with some stuff um, in real life, mainly work, and just kind of prioritizing stuff on my plate. For those that don't know, obviously I have a full time job. That's partly why I haven't been doing streaming or actual recording. Part of the recording is some of the stuff I and the streaming is either I don't feel is either appropriate, or sometimes it's not really active, so it might be boring for some people, and I've tried to steer away from that from the year that I did stream from my first server on TSRP. Um so in that 4-year period from when I first started, I've trying to be a little more self-aware of how my content is for streaming and full-time recording. Um, but still, anyways, I still try to give time for things like RP and other gaming, but it's been primarily RP. I'm not gonna lie. I've recently been going into other gaming like Fortnite and that, which I haven't played in a long time, and I will have a clip of it later, or maybe possibly a couple of clips later. I'm in the process of going through a full week's worth of clips right now, so you will see that stuff shortly. I guarantee that. But I'm coming on here to talk about that a little and a couple of other things. Um, but yeah, it's been hard to balance everything because I do work full time. Um, and oh my God, sorry. Tongue tied there. I do have other priorities in my life that I have to take care of. Which I don't openly talk about because, one, it's honestly nobody's business to know my private life. But it's mundane, but it's stuff that has to be done. But balancing that, work, I am a staff member on Immense, so I do have to be able to take time to take care of whitelist applications and tickets and everything like that. So there is time that needs to be spent on that, because it is a server that I enjoy. That's why I decided to make myself go into staff, because I want to help with the betterment of the server and the Discord as it is. And, also just random other things going on. And when you're trying to do that and you have things like ADHD and autism, which both of those compete with each other because a lot of them have aspects that are polar opposites of each other. So imagine my brain fighting with each other, like fighting with itself all the time because it wants to do both things, which are the exact opposite of each other, and trying to do everything on my plate. Yeah, it gets a lot. So with that being said, this past week with RP, essentially back to last weekend, stuff got a little crazy. I'm not going to get into details. I did give a brief explanation in the previous video I made about going into a hiatus. Um, and that's, like I said, all I was going to ever get into. So we're going to leave it at that. Um, that added a lot more to the pressure that I was already going under. And it's a different type of pressure, because it's, well, yes, it is me. It is a character issue, and it was causing conflict in my poor odd HD brain of how to handle it. Because suddenly April no longer has a relationship with someone. It's so bad that affects how she's gonna be in the family. And for her, it's like she doesn't have a relationship. She no longer has a family as a support system anymore. A lot of the friends that she hung out with are either gone because they've flown out of the city, or there's just other factors going on, even though there are new people that have flown in, and it is actually people that I know from previous cities. I've yet to meet them, so obviously I can't meta that. It's got to take time for that to happen on its own. For April, she was alone. And for her, it was like, why should I be here when I'm alone? I'm sad. And there's nothing for me. So that's what the hiatus was also for, was to kind of figure out the next step for April and RP. I've done that before, but it's changed. One, my project for work is going faster than expected because I was able to find a quick workaround, so I was able to complete it a heck of a lot faster than expected. But in terms of RP, someone that was in April's life and had flown out, ironically, with almost perfect timing, flew back in literally this Thursday. So we're talking, I'm recording this after midnight on Sunday, the 20th. So we're talking, 3 days ago? So, actually, let me step it back a moment. So April did bleed herself out of the family. And, news of that spread, and she has been given the opportunity to join at least 2 different groups, one a mafia and one an MC. I pretty much know who I'm going to pick once my cooldown period is over. So when obviously the work aspect was taken care of, but I was still like, okay, we're going to go on a hiatus for me to try to figure out what I was going to do with April, RP wise. That happened. And so my 4-week possible hiatus went to 2 weeks because it's a 2-week cooldown period. Because I'm like, well, I can't really do anything for 2 weeks, so let me have that time because I she's still going to be alone. And then this happened where this person comes back on Thursday, and it was like picking back up where they kind of left off, because it was kind of always a missed connection, and it was always it was like kind of like the right person but the wrong time. It always seemed like when one of them was ready, the other one wasn't, for whatever various reason. And then they flew out, and now they're back in. So at this point, I don't feel that I need to stifle my RP for the sake of a slight possibility of a situation improving or anything like that. I need to do what is best for April at this point, and that's continuing on her story. Whether or not April is making wise decisions or not is another story on its own. The whole point is to keep the story going. And that's what I want to do. So, inevitably, that cut down my hiatus down to nothing in terms of RPing. I'm still on hiatus from doing like my staffing duties and that, just to kind of give myself a bit of a mental rest over the weekend, and I'll start back up next week. But RP wise, it ended up not happening because I was trying to get a few loose ends tied up, and then I was going to go on my hiatus. And then this person, who you will see shortly in upcoming clips, came back in. So that's kind of what I wanted to go over, is like, wait a minute, you said you were going on hiatus, now this. That's the reasoning behind it, is there were changes, and those changes were factored into, changing my mind, because they kind of filled those missing pieces that were all of a sudden taken away from April's life, and it was like putting it back in. It was like finding those missing puzzle pieces that got lost. But I do want to address that RP does get mentally wearing for a lot of people in general, because a lot of us do use RP to escape reality. Reality gets too much sometimes, with constant issues with work and, family issues, just stuff you see on the news, whatever. And it's nice to escape and just kind of have a side life outside of reality. However, with it, there becomes a blurred effect between reality and RP life. It happens to a lot of people. It's happened to me before, especially early on when I first started. I've tried to get better at it. Obviously, when I'm in a mental low, it does affect me more. And I know even prior to last weekend, I was having issues because there were conflicts going on with April and La Familia as it was. And unfortunately, it was pulling down my enjoyment in RP, and it started affecting my relationships with other people. And it actually started to wear down on me, like in an outside sense, because it started kind of reminding me of stuff that I just went through growing up and still go through now as an adult. And as somebody who is odd HD and does suffer with depression and anxiety and that on top of that, yo, the RP stuff does get to me a little bit more than others. So I do take it to heart when someone misinterprets my RP as something in reality. And I do want to make that very clear, as I do draw a line. And I feel that there needs to be communications on all sides, and I try to do that communication. Sometimes I don't make it very clear. Sometimes I'm not really good at communicating, but I think us as our peers need to be more clear with our communication with each other, but with also other people as well. Because awkward situations happen, and I hate being put in awkward positions in situations. And yeah, I just want to RP and I just want to have fun. I don't mind making friends and having friends that are outside of RP, but yeah, that boundary has to stay clear. Especially with what I deal with mentally every day. It's just hard. So I think for those that don't do this type of thing, I think most our peers understand it, even not having any mental health issues, not having autism, not having ADHD, nothing like that. I think everybody's gone through it where things get misconstrued or misinterpreted or whatever. We're all here to have fun. Some people do cross the line. Some people are trolls. Some people are cheaters. Some people are hackers. Some people are whatever. But for a good portion of us, we're here to have fun in RP and have another life outside of reality. And I just want it kept that way, you know? So I know I'm kind of being long-winded and kind of babbling on here, but I just wanted to kind of convey that, because I know people have kind of seen a shift in behavior with April in some past clips, and you're going to see a shift in behavior in the newer clips that are going to pop up. But that's the reasoning why, is there are things that are affecting me because of other factors, either in character that goes out or out that goes in. And some of it, yes, is on me, especially letting it get to me that way, and I shouldn't. But also the other part is that communication with who you're RPing with. And sometimes I don't make that clear, and sometimes the other person doesn't make that clear. It happens to all of us. We just need to remind ourselves to do that. And for those that don't RP, this is kind of the headspace that we're kind of in, because while we are playing characters, it is still an extension of us as people. We are not professional actors or actresses by any means. So that distinction to separate is not as easy as it is for a professional. So give us grace and cut us some slack when you kind of see things go to shit. But I do appreciate the support that's been there. I do wish certain things, and I'm not talking about just now. I'm talking about like all my RP. There are times where I wish I could go back and change certain things in RP. But it's like real life. You know, it is a virtual, you know, world of other people living lives just like regular people in reality do. Would have, could have, should have's, and it doesn't matter. What's done is done, and you kind of move on. So it's always a learning experience in RP. And, you know, the stuff that April goes through and what I go through, I hope to learn from those, you know, errors, and also from the things that we do right. And, you know, find ways to make the RP better. So that's going to be enough rambling from me. Way too much rambling from me. But there you have it. Now you know why you're seeing more clips and why I'm a basket case. But yeah. Have fun trying to piece everything together, because unfortunately you're getting clips. Hopefully you'll be able to flesh out the new plot line. But yeah. That's all I got for you guys. Until the next update, have fun with future clips and maybe recordings, full recordings at some point. I don't know. I am freaking tired, so I've got ideas in my head that I don't know how much I'm actually going to follow through with. But yeah, other than that, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you on the flip side.